you doing, everybody? This is Zach Allen. And just before we get started, I want you to remind you, if you like my videos and they've helped your game in the past, don't forget to subscribe, drop a comment. I'll be sure to get back to you as quick as possible. But also, we have a free email list that has the link down below. If you want to jump on that at any time and get weekly emails from me that'll help your game, go right ahead and do it. Okay, so you're obviously probably taking a look here and you can see what I'm wearing on my waist, right? And what's going on here, right? How is this going to help my golf game today? But what's going to happen, we're going to finally once and for all get rid of you standing up through the shot, okay? Coming out of the shot, lifting up, lifting your head up, all those things that I know disturb a lot of golfers. Before we do it, let's go ahead and take a look at some footage here of the great Tiger Woods. And these are different angles that you've probably never seen before, but they're going to really show us some very important movements in his golf swing.
Different perspectives of Tiger Woods. And I'm going to draw a line by his torso and his right thigh. And I want you to watch what happens in transition, okay? So watch the angle of his pelvis as he starts down. He's not just rotating his hips. He's not just squatting, say, through his knees. He's actually increasing the angle of his pelvis, or his hip tilt, his hip inclination to the ground as he starts down. You can see that very clearly there. That's something that, you know, out of all the players I measure, nobody does that. Okay, so kind of looking at the tush line from another different view from up top, you notice his right hip gets deeper, and then his left hip, I mean, that's something that's just unheard of. Nobody's doing that consistently. His hips are that much behind that original tush line at address. So that's a lot of where his power, his stability, right, through the ground are coming from, is the movement of his pelvis in transition.
So I hope you enjoyed that just different perspective on Tiger's swing. We really never get to see camera angles like that. But how do we get that into your golf swing? Okay, how can we get your pelvis and your center to work like what he's doing so we can actually generate power out of the ground? That's one of his trademark moves, right? That Tiger squat. And that's where we really initiate power in the downswing. So I obviously got this on my hips, right? And there's two things that are going on there, okay? And they're very tough to learn. I can't stress this. You got to do them slowly to actually get them, okay? Because most people, when they're starting the downswing, they're obviously coming up and out of it. You notice here, right, this little tool I've got on me is starting to move up as soon as I start down. Okay, he's doing something totally different. So when you move up and out of it, it's rotating, but we're losing this angle, right? This is the angle to my pelvis. And just to get started, your setup even kind of comes into play here. You notice when I set up here, if I have a lot of bend of my torso, right, and a lot of flexion in my hips, you notice how steep the angle of my belt is, there's no way I'm going to be able to lower more in my downswing. I'm coming out of it for sure as I start down. So make sure when you start, you're going to have a little bit of flexion to your hips, like about that much, and a little crack to your knees, and that's a great setup, okay? So as he gets up to the top of the swing, here's the two big moves that he's doing, is he's simultaneously, he's flexing, right? He's flexing into his hips, and he's turning. And that's what you got to kind of practice. So if I just did them separately, one, he's going this way, and then the other one, he's turning. But he's doing them both at one and the same time. So he's flexing down into his hips to really get down and grip the ground, to get power out of the ground. And you notice that makes my tush from this view, that makes it stay back, right? That makes it stay back. I'm down into the ground and my hips are still rotating at the same time. So the feel would be, in order for you to really get this in your golf swing, start slowly, go up to the top, make sure you're in a good position. Be careful, because I even see some of you out there that will do this in your backswing. And you notice how much I've flexed down into my hips in my backswing. I'm going to come out of this really early also. So we want to be in a good enough backswing position to where I can actually go down into the ground, right? I'm a little bit more up into my legs, right? You notice there's a little bit of extension in my trail leg as I get back to the top. And now I've got some room for this to work down. And what I've done with students, I've taken a rubber tee, I've put it on their belt, but probably the easiest thing is just put your hand like where your belt buckle would be, right by your center, and just slowly start to feel this angle increase as you start down. So it's increasing and rotating all at the same time. Increasing and rotating. You do a couple rehearsals like that, put 2 hands on the club, start to feel that happening nice and consistently as you start your downswing, and you really get that feeling of that's what that sit down position is. There's a lot of you out there that are trying to do stuff like this, and that's not necessarily it either, right? To really get power out of the ground, we've got to do it the right way. So I've got some of that sensation of what that feels like, and then we bring that out to the driving range and actually start to hit golf balls. But let me tell you this right now, if I ever want to hit a ball harder, that's my number one thought. I'm not trying to get my hips to turn faster, the club to swing faster. I'm actually just digging into the ground more. And you'll see the same thing with Tiger. When he wants to hit a drive farther, an iron farther, you're going to see more of this pelvis angle increasing as he starts down. And then his hips are also going to clear out of the way even faster and harder, okay? But he's maintaining all this hip depth from this behind view. He's never doing any of this. So that's the early extension that we're trying to get rid of, right? My hips extending up too quickly to start the downswing, which does give us some power, but it's going to be a lot of power with our arms. So you've done some of the rehearsals, right? You're getting that sensation of simultaneously going into flexion and rotation to start your downswing. And it takes some reps. You might want to go slow, use a mirror at home, rehearse it on the driving range. I even see Tiger Woods rehearse it, and he's done it since he was a kid, and he still works on that move because he knows it's a very powerful, consistent move. And then start to slowly take that out to the golf course. What I would recommend is on your first couple, just map it out. It means just to not hit it very hard. You're just trying to slowly get that sensation. But like I'm telling you, that's exactly what I think about for power. I think about going down into my hips, going down into the ground, and then I explode through, okay? There's also a sensation of my hips getting around the corner before the club gets there. So as you kind of work on those, you're going to really get that sensation of this is where the power comes from. It comes from the ground up. It comes from my lower body. That's how we use it. We don't use our hips like this to get power. We don't throw our legs into the ball. That really doesn't give us consistent power. So I hope that helps you. I'll see you next week.
Thank you so much for watching that video. If you really liked it, feel free to subscribe or give me a thumbs up. I love hearing from you guys too, so definitely drop a comment with any questions or concerns. But if you really want to get a lot of my content that's not on YouTube, I have an email list. All you need to do is click the link below, put your email in, and you'll be getting all this content for free that nobody else gets on YouTube. Lessons from me that come out almost every other day. I'll talk to you soon.